Today's topic is abstract methods and classes in Java. I did give you these lectures, but I presume that a few of you guys didn't understand what it says. Now, abstract methods. Do you guys remember this system from our last lecture of inheritance? We had a class shape which had a few data members and a couple of member functions, take input and display result. Then we had some subclasses, rectangle, triangle, and square. These subclasses were inheriting all the public data members and member functions from their superclass shape. Also, each of the subclass had their own function calculate area to calculate the area of respective shape. Square, however, had an overridden function called take input. Now, let's say at the time of creating the superclass shape, we had a function called calculate area, but we only provide the signature of the function and not any implementation details. Rather, we ask any and all subclasses, that is rectangle, triangle, and square, to implement the functionality of this function over here. Such a function that has no body, rather only signature, is called an abstract function. It is the responsibility of all subclasses to provide implementation of an abstract function. A class that has an abstract function in it is called an abstract class. Now, this is just the definition of an abstract class or an abstract method for you to understand. Could you please read it out for yourself? So now we are going towards the actual implementation of abstract methods and classes and how they are implemented, or the idea behind them. As you remember, we had a class shape, a superclass. It had 3 data members: length, breadth, and answer. In the next line, I've got a scanner class to take input. Shape class has a constructor that is only initializing length and breadth to their default values. I've got a take input function that is asking user to enter the value of length and the value of breadth in the respective data members. I've got a function display in parent class that is displaying the answer of the area calculated. Then we had a class rectangle, and it extends shape. That is, rectangle is now a subclass and shape has become its parent class or the superclass. Rectangle has its own calculate area method, which is calculating the area of a rectangle given the formula and storing the result in a variable answer. This variable is actually the variable it inherited from the parent. Same goes with triangle class. It extends shape, it calculates its own area. And then we've got a class square. It extends shape, it calculates its own area. But square also has a take input function which is overridden, and here's the implementation of it. We've already done this in the class. Now, when you come to the main function, obviously it's ever going. It asks user to press R to calculate area of a rectangle, or T to calculate area of a triangle, or S to calculate area of a square, or press any other thing to just get out of the system. Now, if user presses R, we create an object of rectangle here. Then we call the input function that takes input for the rectangle, calculate area of the rectangle class is called, display of the parent class is called for rectangle. Same goes for triangle. But in case of square, we create the object. Take input function is overridden. That is why take input function of square class will be called, calculate area of the square class will be called, and display function of the parent class will be called. And this ends your program. If I try and run this program for once for you guys, I hit the play button. So this is my console. I hope you guys can see what's going on. Okay, so it's asking me to press R to calculate area of rectangle. Say if I press R, it's in green. I hope you guys can see that. It has executed the constructor of a superclass, and now it's asking me to enter values for length and breadth as given here. Yeah. So it has executed first the constructor for parent class and initialized length and breadth to 0, and now it's telling me here that parent class function is called. Parent class is take input function is called, and asking me to enter the values of length and breadth. So I enter values of length and breadth 4 and 5. It has calculated the area, displayed the result, and is asking me again to press anything if I want to continue calculating. So I press T, this time for triangle. Then again, superclasses constructor is executed. Length and breadth values are initialized to 0. Parent class's take input function is called, and it's asking me to enter values. So I enter 3 and 3 this time. Sorry, I've selected 4. Now the area is 6. The while loop is still true. It's asking me to press again. So this time I calculate the area of square. And now it is saying that constructor of superclass is called, initializing length and breadth values, but take input of the square class is called this time. Let's just see what the take input of square class is doing. Now, take input says enter length of a side of square, enter length of a side of square. Now I enter length of one side only, that is 4, and calculates the area. It gives me the result and asks me to enter a value again. This time I'll just press any other option to quit the system. So here we are. Now, in case of abstract methods, let's just introduce an abstract method in shape. At the end of the class, I write abstract void calculate area. So actually, this is just the signature of an abstract method. Now, what kind of a warning is it giving me? The abstract method calculate area in type shape can only be defined by an abstract class. So this means if you've got an abstract function or method in a class, that class is also declared as abstract. Now the error is gone. Okay, so if I've got an abstract method here, let's just say that I do not provide any implementation for that abstract function. Let's just say. So it's telling me the type rectangle must implement the inherited abstract method shape.calculate area. Since calculate area is an abstract method of parent class, and rectangle is inheriting shape. A rectangle has to provide a definition or an implementation for this abstract method. So when I remove these comments and provide an implementation for the abstract method, it's done and it's valid, not giving me any errors. So each and every class that extends an abstract class has to provide an implementation for abstract method. Okay, so another point to remember is that when you have an abstract method, you cannot, when you have an abstract class, you cannot create an object for it. So I've got a class shape. No, I've got a class shape with a capital S. Shape. Let me just check. No, it's from small s. So I write shape s equals new shape. I am trying to create the object of an abstract class. It's giving me an error. Cannot instantiate the type shape. That means one cannot create the object of an abstract class. So this is actually the complete implementation of our abstract methods and abstract classes.